morning, I'm Hasbi.
I'm Irfan.
And I'm Irfan.
We're going to be presenting to you the telecommunications
In
Canada. I will start off with the introduction. Canada has created a standout amongst the most cutting-edge, advanced and broadly accessible information transfer frameworks on the planet. This reflects the nation's remarkable geographic, demographic and political character, and in addition, its physical closeness to the USA and Europe. Canada's government is helping the telecommunication industry achieve national and global distinguishment by laying preparation to help the country's communication equipment suppliers. By giving duty credits to the private sector to motivate research and development, Canadian telecommunication gear, computers, peripherals, and programming organizations have guaranteeing prospects. Canada was the first to deploy numerous telecom headways, for example, the first public packet switching network, a pioneer of fiber optic use, and of intercontinental ATM transmission. In 1995, Canada's communication sector yielded very nearly $23 billion, of which over $20 billion was earning from the phone business. The Canadian telecommunication industry backed around 150 organizations, a large portion of whom were real dealers, and caught around 10% of the evaluated $6 billion long separation market from incumbent operators. Canada's city hubs are Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto. The Telecommunications Act of 1993 gives the primary structure to the regulations of the telecommunication service segment in Canada. It regulates telecommunication by ensuring reliable services, protecting privacy, protecting and encouraging the Canadian media. The Act sets down the essential goals of Canadian telecommunications policy and the regulator, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, which is also called CRTC. The Act sets down the conditions for the operation of a telecom basic barrier, general provisions on telecom taxes rates, power of the CRTC as for acquiring data, supplies on the interconnection, privileges of weight and numbering. CRTC focuses on a regulator's primary objectives, which is to create an open and focused telecommunications business based around an regulatory structure. Unlike most of the other OECD countries, Canada has two objectives, which fit uneasily in an open, globally competitive telecommunication environment and with non-discriminatory treatment in regulation. Their motives are to promote the ownership and control of Canadian carriers by Canadians and to promote the use of Canadian transmission facilities for telecommunications within Canada and between Canada and points outside Canada.
So now I'll be presenting to you my part for the roadmap in Canada from the beginning till the present situation.
Now I'm going to present you the technology roadmap of telecommunications in Canada. It started off in 1847, whereby Montreal Telegraph Company was established. As years goes by, Montreal Telegraph Company was being challenged with Canadian Pacific Railway's telegraph. As you can see, as technology was great use in 1860s, it changes into a telephone which was established in Montreal with the company name of Bell Telephone Company. In 1921, a Telephone Association of Canada was formed. Therefore, the Trans-Canada telephone system began the development of a national network in 1931. Telegraph were instrumental in the construction and operation of railways. Therefore, the telegraph lines became the CN Telegraph Company. Both of CN and Railway Telegraph competed and jointly offered services. In 1932, they provide national network services for the Canadian Radio Broadcast Commission. In the late 1950s, a 158-station cross-Canada microwave network was completed. Therefore, in 1980, CN Telegraph Company and Railway Telegraph fused to form CNCP Telecommunications. As a result, In 1988, Canadian Pacific bought out CN, which sold 40% of the company to Rogers Communications, that was renamed as Unitel. So in 1993, the 20% of Unitel were then sold to AT&T Corporation of the United States. However, AT&T Canada continued to lose money, and it sold its residential long-distance operation to Primus Telecommunications. Telecommunication services have become increasingly more important as the world depends on technology. In Canada, these high prices on such vital services are a nationwide problem. As for the network operators in Canada, there are over 27 million wireless subscriptions in Canada. Telecommunication in Canada have been dominated mainly by three companies, which is firstly Rogers, Bell, and Telus. This can be considered as oligopoly. It is when a market is dominated by a small number of firms. The telecommunication services market, where Rogers, Bell, and Telus hold a huge portion of the market. It holds around estimate 90% of the mobile market in Canada. However, there is little or no price competition between the three big firms. Instead, the three firms can collude to raise their prices or drop them in order to prevent any competitors from entering the market. The big three firms will continue to dominate the market by themselves and charge ridiculously high rates for their services. Overall, Telus Mobility is the most expensive as compared to the rest. As you can see, for the market share, the chart was taken in 2013, which was the latest data that have been collected. The highest percentage was Telus Mobility, followed by Bell Mobility and Rogers Wireless, which are the most popular used in Canada. So overall, competition has developed most rapidly in the long-distance market in Canada, and particularly in long-distance business market.
I will now present to you about the service quality of network operators in Canada. Quality of service indicators have been part of the regulatory framework since 1982. In 1994, the CRTC decided that it would monitor the quality of service of all telephone companies under its jurisdiction for services where there was monopoly control. A new version was implemented in July 1997, whereby the main incumbents reported on service quality using uniform national standards. The CRTC approved a set of national quality of service standards that was better at the beginning of 1999. It introduces some new indicators and rejected other indicators which were considered no longer relevant in view of technological and market conditions. Most regulators use quality of service indicators to control services provided by operators to end customer. In April 2001, where innovative in that the CRTC introduced, there is a new service indicators that measure the supply and repair of services provided to competitive local exchange carriers by incumbent local exchange carriers. The CRTC also created 5 competitive related interval indicators for reporting compliance with intervals and standards negotiated in the CRTC Interconnection Steering Committee and approved by the Commission. These included indicators on new unbundled loop orders met and local number portability orders met. In conclusion, the telecommunications industry in Canada has come a long way and has evolved over time as well. It has experienced its own share of government regulation as well as deregulations in its many subsectors. Technological progress, innovation, competition has gone a long way in sharing and determining how the industry functions today. Canadian telecommunication industry can expand and provide more opportunities for both producers and consumers. And finally, we have seen that the Canadian telecommunications industry is significant in terms of its contribution to GDP and employment.
We have come to the end of our presentation.
Thank you.